So you want to know how to fix your forearm pain. This is without a doubt one of the biggest problems that people suffer in the gym, especially when doing calisthenics training. And in this episode, I'm going to take you through some really amazing hacks that you can use with basic gym equipment in order to overcome that forearm pain. Now make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to take you out onto the gym floor and actually demonstrate the stuff that you're going to use. All that and more coming up.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
Hey everyone, so in case we haven't met, my name's Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the founders and creators of Unity Gym and the Foundation Movement System, which is the place where we teach you how to move and nourish instead of how to diet and exercise. It's a really big shift that we're trying to make in the fitness industry. And today we're going to talk about something that some of the guys on our Movement Mastermind tribe have raised, which is just forearm pain. It actually came from coming from grip training. They were from hanging. They were asking about, you know, when you're doing your hanging, how do you do this and that? And it got onto forearm training and forearm pain. So it's something that's just so common. So many people get it. And it's something that if you don't know how to deal with, it just stops you dead in your tracks because it basically stops you being able to grip onto things without experiencing pain, which in the gym is just disastrous. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, you know, what is it? So generally speaking, you have what's commonly referred to as golfer's elbow, or the muscles that affect the flexors, or tennis elbow, or the muscles that affect the extensors or elbow flexors. And it comes from basically the muscles that attach to the epicondyle of the elbow, and which is why it's commonly referred to medial epicondylitis or lateral epicondylitis. And I've suffered both of them in the last couple of years. It's been, first I had medial epicondylitis and I had to deal with that, and once I dealt with that, I got lateral epicondylitis. And I managed to still keep training the whole way through it because I was luckily I had a lot of knowledge on how to deal with this stuff, and also luckily I've got a couple of good friends who are amazing physical therapists who I have an open relationship with, where I could not only see them for treatments but also talk to them about the best way to deal with this. Through all of that knowledge and through our own experiences, Yanni and I created a really good progressive approach to dealing with this stuff. And I'm going to show you guys some of the hacks that we use that you can implement today in the gym. And for that, we're going to need to go out onto the gym floor. So we've got the gimbal here, but Rich is going to have to start. Sorry, thought we had this set up. Here we go. You got it, Richie? Yep. Okay, so can you grab it and follow me out, buddy? Sorry about this, guys. It's only Richard and me here today, so we don't have Yanni to help. So Richard's going to be doing this. You definitely flicked onto the right camera there. Yep. All right. Let's do it. So out onto the gym floor. Now, there's a couple of things that we use, and the first that I'm going to show you is the simplest, the easiest to use, where almost every gym will have this stuff. And this is basically just tissue remodeling. This is just to help break up any scar tissue and get rid of muscle adhesions. So muscle adhesions are where the muscles intersect. You know, the fascia can become stuck to each other and the muscles can stop moving properly. So this is a really good one that I like to use. Now the amount of weight that you do is completely up to you. So for my tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis, what I do is pull the kettlebell up and then I'm just moving it around like this. And basically just trying to find the spots that are sore. So I know where my sore spot is. I've got to angle my arm. Whoops, came off. I've got to angle my arm and get right over there. And when I get it, you just kind of breathe through it. Just hold it there. Take the pain for as long as you can and then move on to another spot. When it's too much for you and you can't hold it any longer, then of course, you know, just take it off and relax. You can do it for the golfer's elbow as well. So I can get right up in here. And you've got to kind of angle yourself like this. Try not to go over the bones. If you go over the bones, it's going to cause you problems, but just on the muscle like this is really, really good. That was a really big part for me of dealing with my golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. And then if I come over here, you know, you can change the angle of the camera with the thumb thing. Yeah, cool. So we've got these really nice pendlay barbells here. These are Olympic lifting barbells, and you can see they've got a really nice spin on them. So if you can get access to some nice barbells that have a good spin on them in the gym, I find these really, really good. And for the outside, for the tennis elbow, what I like to do is lean my body against it. I've set these up at the right height, so at the height of my wrist is good. And then what I'm going to do is just lean my body into it and massage up and down like this. Okay? So what I do mostly is I put the pressure on when I go down, and then I take the pressure off when I come up. And you can get onto the brachioradialis here and all the muscles that are crossing the elbow joint. Okay? Try to stay away from the bone on the elbow. That's not really good. Okay? And I mean, I could do this for 5 or 10 minutes. It just feels so good on that area. For the golfer's elbow, what I've found the best way to do it is to get the barbell set up higher and rest your forearm on it like this, and then pull down with this arm. And what I find is if I twist this way, so if I've got my right arm on there, if I twist this way, and then this arm's pulling down, because this arm wants to be relaxed. I don't want to be tensing the muscles that I'm trying to use. And then from here, I'm just going to go back and forth like this. So I'm pulling down with this arm here and just rolling around and getting right in to those forearm flexors there. And again, I could do that for 5 minutes. It feels so good. Next, we're going to move on to some more specialized equipment, maybe is the word, but I mean, a physio ball is pretty common. These two pieces of equipment that I'm going to show you now, the physio ball and the Armaid here, you can buy these online. We've got links in this video description. And if you want to help our channel out, if you use these links to get this equipment, it's a really big help for us. So anyway, I'll show you how we use these. So for the spiky ball, what we do is you just go down on the ground and you can just rest. Again, you're pulling down here and just bringing your forearm up and down like this. So you're going through flexion and extension, okay? And then also, and you just move to the different positions. Flexion and extension like this. Okay? And then when I want to go on the back, on the, sorry, I'll probably go this way. If I want to go onto my extensors, I roll over onto the back and I just rest this arm on and put a little bit of pressure and just move it around like this. And again, I can go through flexion and extension here. Okay? And all I'm doing is just moving around and trying to find the spots in my forearms that are painful. So it's going to be different for everyone. But you're basically just working all around your forearm there. On the inside and the outside, depending on if you've got tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, and playing around with it. Now, probably what's the ultimate tool, because this thing is literally designed for this, is the Armaid. And the Armaid is just unreal. I like to set it up with something like, I might do it here actually. I like to set it up with something that I can put this against, so because I get right into my arm when I do this. So I just set this up on my leg. And then what I do is just kind of chock my leg up against here so that that can't go anywhere. And then from here, I'm just squeezing this together and rolling like this. Okay? So if I actually show you, I'll do the medial side, so the golfer's elbow, so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm squeezing together and just rolling. And this attachment that I've got, this is the most intense attachment. There's much gentler ones. There's ones that have 3 balls on it so that the pressure is spaced out across the forearm. But because I've worked through a lot of my problems, I can do the hardest one here. And this just really allows me to give myself like a proper massage, right in there. It's amazing. This has been a godsend, this Armaid. It's been such an amazing tool. And again, I mean, I could sit here for 10 minutes doing this. It just feels so good. So those are some really good things for you guys to do to manage your forearm pain. Now, if you are pursuing this journey of calisthenics, You know, the amount of upper body work that you have to do, like where your hands are on the ground, handstands and planches and all the hanging that you do and gripping. And even just with weightlifting, even with upper body weightlifting, I highly recommend that you do this stuff before you experience forearm pain. Because when it comes, it is virtually impossible to completely get rid of. You just can't not use your arms enough for it to heal. So I highly recommend that you get onto this stuff early. This whole video was really about a sort of prehab approach to recovery and to dealing with forearm pain, and definitely before you get the golfer's elbow or the tennis elbow. When you get golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, if you get to that point, you really need to go down a path of rehab that includes this stuff. This stuff is a part of it, but there's a whole rehab protocol that we have, and we've got a really good video on dealing with golfer's elbow and tennis elbow that you should watch if that's where you are. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to keep this simple today and give you guys some stuff that you can really use. Even just that little amount that I did just then is enough to make my arms feel a lot better. The next thing that I want to talk about, though, because we do have time, is something that came up in the Movement Mastermind, which is people were talking about when they're hanging, you know, should you hang with your fingers like this on the bar, or should you grab it with your palm? And you absolutely should grab it with your palm. You want to hang on like you're holding on for dear life. That's where you're the strongest. And the next thing that came up is people were talking about calluses, and people were talking about wearing gloves. Should I wear gloves? I don't believe in wearing gloves at all. I think it's a really bad way to go about your gym training. And if you zoom in, Richie, on my hand, if you have a look at my calluses there, what I do is I keep my calluses filed down, okay? And the way I do that, it's funny when I say this to people, some people go, ooh, that's gross, but honestly, I don't give a shit. When I'm in the shower and I've washed my hands and my hands are really clean and the skin's really soft, I just chew it off and spit it out. I'm a guy, so I don't really care about what my hands look like, and I just want to be efficient. And to be honest, I just can't be bothered sitting there with a little pumice stone or filing it away. If I do it in the shower, when my hands are clean and all my skin is soft, it honestly takes about 30 seconds to just completely get the calluses right down again. And you do want to keep them down, because what happens with calluses is as they build up, that's when they catch. And I've seen some people showing images of where their calluses ripped off, and I remember the days. That used to happen to me all the time, and I didn't understand how to deal with my calluses back then. So they'd build up, and they become so big and thick that they grab onto the pull-up bar or they grab onto the barbell, and eventually they'll grab hard enough, and when you're going for a max lift, it'll just rip off and it rips the flesh off. And when that happens, it really messes up your training, because you can't grip onto anything properly for a little while. So since I've adopted the approach that I just described to you, I do it at least once a week, and you just keep the calluses right down like that. If you don't want to do it the way that I just described, I know that they've got tools that you can get from chemists, or I think in America they're called drugstores, and just sort of file those down. But they are a big part of your training. Like if your hands are soft and you can't train the way that you want to, like you can't grip onto things without gloves, then that makes your hands your weak link, you know? Like if the skin on your hands is so soft that you can't grab on to a bar or a chin-up bar, then that's your weak link. That's the weakest link in your body. And by wearing gloves, in my opinion, all you're doing is protecting that weak link and not allowing your body to really get stronger. And the hands are really the way that we express our strength for the upper body. It all comes through the hands, you know. There's very little that you do where you bypass the arms and go straight to the forearm and in my own training, there's virtually nothing I do. Everything is expressed through the hands. So if your hands are weak, if your forearms are weak, then your potential to be able to express your strength, to be able to do the things that we all want to do through our training is going to be greatly limited. So I hope this helps. I hope you guys got some good stuff out of it. As always, if you've got any questions about this, just leave a comment and we answer as many questions as we can in our daily show. Sometimes we even do whole episodes on it like this when someone asks a good question. And otherwise, I will see you next week on Monday with Yanni again. Have a great weekend. Oh yeah, you got to, whoops, yeah, sorry, Richard's got to go back to the studio and turn the show off. But anyway, so sorry guys, I forgot Richard's got to be in the studio and turn it off.